I know post-March 2020, I've been utilizing this platform and my interest in movies and other assorted media to kind of talk about, reflect on, and discuss my own process of coping throughout the past couple of years of challenge and adversity, whether it's through being able to construct essays centered around topics or themes that, for one reason or another, really leapt out at me in the time of quarantine, or whether it's through some original creative expressions that I've recently been able to share with you all, and hopefully will continue to be able to offer to myself, if not anyone else, but hopefully others enjoy. And certainly I have showcased and talked about certain stories or films that have become kind of my voice for all of the emotions and complex circumstances I find myself having to deal with ever since March of 2020. And here is yet another. And I dare say it's probably one of those creative expressions that absolutely speaks for several different things that occupy my mind as of late. I don't want to give too much away with regards to the actual beat-for-beat story elements of Drive My Car and revelations that characters go through in the movie, because without a doubt, I am highly recommending that you watch this. I know it's a bit of an investment when it comes to viewing time, clocking in close, just short of 3 hours, but I think it's worth it. And if you can set aside almost 3 hours for fun escapism in the harrowing heights of Gotham City with the most recent Batman movie, or the multiverse madness with Spider-Man, then I think absolutely you can offer yourself up something a little bit different. And I know also that this movie won't speak to everyone in the exact same way it spoke to me, or that even anything of merit will come of your viewing of it. But I feel there is just so much there to unpack, so much that people can resonate with and find something to latch onto, that it's worth a shot. There's so many different facets of the human condition that Drive My Car really gives full glance to, and doesn't necessarily offer up surefire solutions, but absolutely can validate what it means to search for those answers. Whether it's talking about being able to move on past a trauma, or being able to accept loss, or deal with regrets, or being able to know oneself truly, whether it's through the people around them or through the art and interests that they fixate on. I feel this film gives voice to all of those, and not only gives voice to several different themes, but also literally gives voice to several different cultures and languages. There's dialogue in Japanese, Korean, English, sign language translated into Korean, sign language translated into Japanese. But it's all so genuine and so well thought out, and informs us so much about where each of these characters is coming from in their own separate walks of life, that when they intermingle to put on a combined artistic expression that is emotionally draining and challenging, and doesn't in and of itself offer an easy solution, that it creates some very beautiful moments. Throughout this film, I not only was just hypnotized by the down-to-earth sort of beauty of this very quiet, smaller story, but also how that gives each of these performers an opportunity to have their moment to shine. At no point did it feel like anyone wasn't given their due and proper in the principal cast. And while the movie certainly has a lead, has a primary focus, it's not necessarily all about them and how other characters influence them. You see the struggles and hardships of these other characters. You see and hear about how actually they're as vulnerable and messed up as we are. And it creates for a space in which you can tackle whatever kind of feeling or thought or theme is kind of dominating your mindset at the time. It feels like at all times this movie really goes out of its way to address every point of view, every struggle that each character is going through and is representing. And again, no one is necessarily given the short end of the stick with regards to fulfillment of those arcs. And I haven't even talked about the cinematography of this film. There's just something great about this somewhat cold but not necessarily fully disconnected point of view on the camera, where we allow characters to have their space, we allow characters to kind of be a little bit more distant from us, but then when we need to be let into their world a little bit more, when we need to be drawn in, the camera really lets us share that space very intimately with them. The fact that a lot of the most emotionally charged scenes take place when characters are talking in this very small vehicle, in this car. It's a very, again, I guess intimate would be a good word for it, but also just a very compelling kind of drama. Like you're witnessing this very small black box theater style play set in a car. You're the audience of one, allowed in on the story as it plays out. And like I said, this has become a movie that I feel as I watched it and then came back to certain moments after watching it, I realized how much this film spoke to so many different things that I had and continue to process, even as our country at least works its way back to some semblance of normalcy, whatever that means. It still speaks to the anxieties or the regrets or the needs that I found myself having to deal with for the past couple of years. And like I said, doesn't necessarily offer a clear-cut solution as to how you deal well with those, how you effectively cope. But absolutely, I think, advocates for the need of creative expression as a means of coping. And there's just this wonderful, wonderful kind of almost closing scene. And there's a monologue that comes up. And its presentation and its performance and the way the actors very much embody the moment, keeping in mind what their characters have been through and what they've processed. It's this very overwhelmingly emotionally charged scene, and it's done mostly in silence, and it's very moving. It's very beautiful. I couldn't help but be moved by it and found myself getting very tearful in response to it. It's a very wonderful bit of filmmaking. I've only seen a handful of the Best Picture nominees for this year. I've loved all of them thus far, and hopefully I can continue to watch more of them before the awards premiere. But as much as I love films like The Power of the Dog or Dune or Nightmare Alley, I can't help but feel like I'm rooting very much for Drive My Car. Just because at its core, it's about so many things that have echoed in my own life, especially since 2020. It would do my heart good to see such an awesome and massive expression of deep feeling get that recognition. It's well earned, in my opinion. Those are my reflections on Drive My Car whilst driving my car. I hope you enjoyed me just kind of going on the fly here and talking a little bit about what I really responded to in that movie. I'd love to hear your own thoughts on the film, or on any films that you feel in these past couple of years have kind of been your voice or your expression on coping and dealing with your specific situation during the specific time in history. Please feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, share. I'm trying to be more vocal about that, and it's a process, no doubt. I will have to keep reminding myself to do that, but wish you all the best. Thank you for watching and listening, and take care.